if you believe that you're going to fall while you're standing on your head, you almost always will.
This is Start, Grow, Manage, where we help managed service providers achieve the impact, freedom, and wealth you imagined back when you started your company. At Start, Grow, Manage, our tools, practices, and processes help you engage, energize, and execute on building a business that empowers an extraordinary life. Learn more about our programs and how they can fuel your fire at startgrowmanage.com/learn more. Let's go.
Hello and good afternoon, I guess. Where are you in the world, Charlene?
Canada. There you go.
But which time zone? Which time zone?
I think in Canada it's the EST.
Okay, so you're in the same one. So we just went to
Yes.
noon. But for anybody sort of over to the west of us, you guys are still in the morning. So good morning. And then Happy New Year, Charlene. I haven't seen you all
Hey,
year.
I know. Happy New Year. It's been one of those, life, experiences, and it's like, bam, we're 2025. So it's good to see you, Jeff. You're always so good to see.
2025 and we're off and running, right? Like
Yes, of course.
no rest here. But I
Nope.
guess I hopefully you got some time off during the holidays, and then we just went and hit the ground running after that.
Yeah, I remember talking to Joe. He's like, we're closed. I'm like, you're not really closed. Come on. We're all working, and of course, that's what we do, right? When we're solving everyone's problems.
Well, but the secret to being closed, right, is it gives us that opportunity for some deep work. Then you can really get into solving some problems and thinking through some things and doing some writing, that you can't do when you're busy running around. That's one of those things that Bill Gates, made famous, was this idea of going away for 2 weeks to a cabin and just doing deep work, and that's kind of the idea of being off. But yeah, really off, and it's a funny thing because your brain just doesn't shut down, right? It's like you still
Nope.
want to do work and still want to think about things, so you got to do it.
Yes, definitely.
But I am excited to chat with you. So for anybody who doesn't know, Charlene runs Fornix Marketing. She is a
Hey,
MSP
Joe.
MSP marketing expert here, and also one of our amazing sponsors for the MSP Training Day. So MSP Training Day is coming up, and we're very excited. We're having Sissa come back. Charlene's going to be there to answer marketing questions. We've got a couple of speakers who are going to talk about how to turn cybersecurity information into sales. We've got some experiential stuff that we're doing. So if you were there last time, we're going to make it even more fun this time. So if you haven't signed up, be sure to do so. The link is here below. If you can be there in person, that's best. If you want the recordings afterwards, we'll send you the recordings afterwards, right? And by being on the list, you'll get the early invitation to the next one that we're doing in June. But that's the training day. Sign up. Hope to see you there, or hope to see you in the online portion afterwards. And then from there, we'll just go into Charlene. Charlene, why don't you introduce yourself? And you know how I like to do this. Introduce yourself and talk about that problem that you solve for managed service providers.
Jeff, thank you. And thank you, Joe. It's so good to be with you all. We have been so fortunate to have this wonderful partnership with Start, Grow, Manage, and everything that you guys do, your vision, your commitment, and everything that you continue to do for our community. The problem that we solve is we want to bring people together who have the expertise and experience so that we can help solve other people's problems. And how we do that is by having a community of trusted advisors who understand everything as an MSP of how to run and operate your technology business to really align with the business goals. And, Jeff,
Mm-hmm.
you guys understand this more than anyone else. A lot of times people will say, I want to be an MSP, an IT provider. And I'm thinking, no, you're a trusted advisor. This is who
Yeah.
you are. You're advising and giving not only solutions, but you're actually be able to execute these solutions in really aligning the business goals as well as the business operations. And then, of course, with technology, allows that company to grow and scale.
Well, and this is something that we've been talking about, Charlene and Joe and I, about that language. I actually think that the MSP language is so confining, and it's this idea of I provide infrastructure. And one thing you know about infrastructure is you want it to be as inexpensive as possible, right? So if you
Yes.
call a plumber, you want it to be inexpensive. If you're driving on the road, you want it to be inexpensive, right? It's all commodity, and it's all about getting the price down. And I feel like when we use words like managed service provider, we're forcing ourselves into that price, or that price competition, into a technical conversation that people don't want to have. But if you can position
Mhm.
yourself as a business solution provider, which is the new language that we're working with at the moment. So you're a
Mhm.
business solution provider, and you are out actually becoming that trusted advisor. That's the core of your customer's business, where you're bringing technology to enable their business. It's a huge market opportunity, right? I mean, it's in terms of price, in terms of
Well,
opportunity, in
I
terms of
think you're
marketing.
perceived in that way.
Yeah.
Right. And Jeff, you guys always have said, right? Stop talking about price. Start talking about the value, the skill, the experience, the solution, the speed to it. And of course, everyone has heard me say, I'm the global problem solver, right? Because the speed to solution is my signature. The faster you
Yeah.
can get them to a solution, the faster everyone else gets back to what they were doing, which was creating success, building their businesses, growing, right? What they were doing, and being able to provide that. So yes, our problem we solve is building a community of trusted advisors and giving them the best resources. So that's why we love what you, Jeff, Joe, Heather are doing as a whole team, because you guys are making sure that our MSPs are winning at that level.
So let's chat a little bit about the trusted advisors in terms of MSPs, right? That we're going to shift to VSPs, but for now they still think of themselves as
Mm-hmm.
MSPs. So if we move to that trusted advisor, so one of the things that you always talk about is sort of this framework for engaging people around cybersecurity. And one of the things that we'll be doing in February is we'll get that cybersecurity update, and one of our focuses is going to be really, how do we get people to engage on cybersecurity? How do we get our prospects interested? How do we get our customers interested? And so I think your approach here is interesting, and I love how it ties back to those business needs. Carla, can you put up the slide? It's at slide 7 from Charlene's deck, and we'll go through this. So it's a little small. Hopefully you guys can zoom in. But why don't you just take us through the summary of this and sort of explain what the different categories are, and how you go from like framework back to business needs, which is the part that I love.
Well, and this was built because we do this every day. And Jeff, I
Yeah.
appreciate that, because we do this every day for our MSPs and our MSSPs, because we believe that you guys are the single point of success when a business can align their business with technology and cybersecurity. Right? That alignment
Mhm.
is key to increase the surface of the target. So that being said, guys, this has been literally taught to thousands and thousands of people. Jeff, you've been in the room of when I do
Yeah.
these trainings across the country and world. And it's been awesome because, guys, this is where all of the things that you probably are feeling overwhelmed about. Maybe some of you are overthinkers. Anyone there as an overthinker, raise your hand. We'll give you. Jeff, I wanted you to raise your hand because I was like, you're brilliant because you overthink.
I'm an overthinker, Charlene. I mean, I'm like the president of
Oh,
Overthinkers Anonymous.
it totally is true. And so, guys, sometimes our success is the next decision, but we're so worried about the decision that we never make the decision. And so my
Right.
invitation to you guys is to know that I have proven this time and time again. This framework works. I can do it with my eyes closed. You can do this with your eyes closed. And it's so simple that it's easy not to do. Okay. So just know that I get it. And I've had
But
thousands of those conversations.
so talk us through it a little bit though. So what are some of the
Yeah,
elements in these green
totally.
squares, and how do you tie back the framework to those business drivers that are so crucial?
So, guys, the world now, as we know it, since COVID, the eyes are on us, right? As cybersecurity becomes more apparent as a need, it now is becoming a line item. Compliance is the central most needed attention to have from the business owner, the board of advisors, or the board of trustees. because they all understand that there's a framework of control that governs that industry. So if you're a CPA, right now, you guys are all going to be hearing FTC. And the ruling last 2023 was that they must have 2 pen tests and a WISP. Because in order to operate your business under the FTC ruling, is that you must be compliant. And so this first area is talking about the framework of control. So if you look at that, the FTC ruling is saying 2 pen tests and a WISP. The second step is to understand who's your vendors that are offering those solutions. And I talked to a lot of vendors, Jeff, as you know, we work with similar vendors who want to give good, solutions to their partner problems.
Yeah.
But guess what? MSPs and MSSPs, my invitation to you is to use that relationship and help work through that with your vendor partner to help them understand that you're in a certain industry that has a compliance, a framework, and that you have to be able to use this solution in order for you to help the business get it done. And Jeff, here's where I want this to be so clear, is that framework that business owner is under, we surveyed certain industries, guys. 80% of them don't even know what the framework is. They don't even know what that means when you talk to them about remote access.
They don't know what the framework is for their industry or the industry that they're supporting.
80%. And this is one specific industry. And we thought, well, if you need 2 pen tests and a WISP and you're not currently doing that, and yet you're doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing, you are keeping, and the opportunity for instance going to happen because of the
So we're
phase of the
losing
process
Charlene.
and
Let's see if
understanding.
maybe she can come back in just a second. But I think what
Can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me?
what she's trying to talk about here is just the idea of if you're going to support that industry, if you're going to support somebody, you have to know what framework that they work under and then be able to create solutions to deliver on that framework. And then what I particularly love about this concept is just the way we go from here's the framework, here's the thing that's on the left hand side, the stuff that you have to do, and here's how you get the business results out of it, right? So you're going to get on the right side, you're going to save money or make money, you get a marketing advantage or a sales advantage, right, by going through these different frameworks. And I think what's crucial is to understand once you understand that framework and you can develop a solution around that particular framework, then you can really show your customers how working with you is going to lead to better business results through implementing it.
Yes. And Jeff, there's something that's key, guys. Once the first piece is in place, what you need to do is get to the third, which is, all right, partners, this is what I need to do in order to make this happen. Sometimes the partners don't understand the compliance framework. And that's a challenge because, guys, when you think about this is something that I preach about, is your ICP, your ideal client, right? Your target, the person that you need to have these conversations with. If they don't know what's going on and you don't know what's going on, your vendor doesn't know what's going on, it's a formula for failure. So the goal is to align your vendors with the framework, with what your client's goal is. If your client is saying, hey, we want to add 20 more customers, to our goal this year for 2025, and you're saying, well, how are you going to get there? They're like, well, we need a bigger team, and you're going to offer remote access, and they don't understand that you have to be able to use like a SASE solution to do that. Guess what? You're solving a problem now, not with the technology, but with a business solution that says, I'm going to get you what you want. So you're going to get this, and I'm going to be able to help you be compliant and get you the results you're looking for. So in the last column, more important than ever, guys, is understanding that if it's aligned with a business goal, a business target, then you can actually say this investment of getting remote access management or getting a pen test done or helping you get your WISP done is going to cost you this, because you can actually articulate that it's a business decision, not a technology.
Right.
Okay. A business decision that equals the value.
That's what it comes back to for everybody, is we have to really think about each one of these things as a business decision. It's not a technology decision. It's not an infrastructure decision. It is a decision around how I run my business. And And people ask me all the time, like, Jeff, you talk about value and you say price doesn't matter. That's where the value is, because people ask, where's the value? I don't see that. That's it, right? The value is in enabling. I remember even when I was in the corporate, when I was in a corporate role, I'd spend lots of money on software and services, and every time I had to create a business case, right? I had to show how the value of the software, where the value of the software is going to be, right? So if I invest $500,000, I have to show how that's going to enable $5 million in additional revenue. At least have a credible story. And when you can create that credible story and present that credible story, then nobody cares about the price. Because if it's a credible story, then you're showing them where the value is. And I think that's really what you're talking about here is getting to that value conversation.
And guys, I want to be really, I really want to champion, some of the hard things that come, right? Is how to explain this to a business owner, how to communicate what you're trying to do every day and why you're charging per seat or why you haven't started charging per seat. I have this quarterly business review or strategic business review is what we call it for our clients, is that when you're looking at a strategic business review, guys, and you're sitting with your client and you're saying, hey, your compliance requires appendix. Hey, your compliance requires you to get, FedRAMP. Like, you've got to move into a SOC 2. Like, all those conversations, guys, are like deer in headlights. You're talking a foreign language when they don't understand how you're going to solve their problem. You need to attach every system that you're trying to plug in. And Jeff, I love them to pieces, right? Every time I'm like, how did you guys even get married? You guys are tech vomiting on your poor wife who's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, you know what I like to
again,
do,
guys,
when I'm actually
go
in
ahead.
when I'm actually leading a seminar, right? I'll actually or talking about this, I'll actually talk in a different language. Yeah? So like, was willst du tun? Warum machst du diese Sache? No? So and the funny thing is, I what people don't quite understand is that it's literally that different, right? When you're talking all that tech stuff, they hear it literally as a foreign language. And if I'm speaking German to you and you don't speak German, or if I'm speaking Spanish to you and you don't speak Spanish, then then there's no communication. It's so hard to make a sale. And that's what's crucial, is if when you're speaking their language and you can take these things and put it in their language, that's where you're going to get the benefit. But I wanted to ask you about another thing, Charlene, because you've one of the things that you've just introduced to me that I just discovered about you is some of these habits. Like, you've come up with some like the top 5 habits, I think, and I wonder if you could take us through your habit formula here, because I think this is really interesting.
Yes. So guys, people get the results that they do because of habits. And I just want to kind of start there. And every single one of us have habits that are shaped because of our belief system. When we talk about pricing, this is where a lot of times it is a hard conversation, but it doesn't have to be that hard when you can understand the belief, right? When you have an MSP who's charging $60 per seat and yet you have another one charging $1,200, right? The belief is different, right? It's the belief that the problem I'm solving is a $60 value. The problem I'm solving at $1,200, right, is a different type of habit. So this habit formula that I created is not only proven because of my own, curve of learning opportunities and being able to grow myself, but more important, guys, the first stage is belief. What do you believe about money? What's your story about money? Some of us, change careers because we had a belief that, we could do more. We can have our passion. We're going to charge more. So finally this belief comes in and you're like, hey, Charlene, I'm a business owner. That's great. That's awesome. What's your goals? Well, I just want to be a business owner. So the belief has to evolve, guys. This is how you continue to grow and scale your business. This is how you continue to grow your solution, right? Especially for some vendors out there, coming into the space. It's a belief. Now, here's the thing. Action with validation. What happens is you get validated every single time you take an action, whether it's you got a customer, whether it's you felt like you won, you got something from it. And validation also can be negative. Guys, this is the key to habit. When there's a negative validation or reinforcement, it's teaching you to perpetuate the same behavior or the same habit. And so you have to look at this, and this is the golden rule, guys. Are the results that I'm getting what I believe I really want?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
action with validation. And that's the crux, guys, is looking at the results. Because a lot of times when we get into behavior, people at the basic level, Jeff, say that was good or bad. That's not true. I don't believe that. I believe that it's the behavior or the result that I look at and say, is this where I want to go? And is this on a trajectory that's going to continue to go the way I want to? Or do I need to make those small adjustments and changes? I always use this term, Jeff, and you've heard me say this, is what if I just did this differently today? Not 10,000 things differently, but just 2.
Yeah.
Could I have a different result because of that? So this that I came up with, Jeff, was really how you continue to charge low, right? It's not because it's wrong or right. It's just because there's a belief about that price. Has nothing
Right.
to do with anything. Why are you not having an exit plan? Why are you not planning to sell your business? Why are you continuing to work with partners that aren't, a win-win formula? Because there's a
Right.
belief.
Right. And we were talking about this at the summit as well, and the idea of like changing the thought patterns. And I use the example of standing on my head as if you believe that you're going to fall while you're standing on your head, you almost always will. So you have to change the thought pattern,
Yes.
change your approach to the actions that you're taking, and then you can validate whether or not you're getting the result that you want, and then go back and look at, well, what are the beliefs that are keeping me from doing things, or what are the beliefs that are helping me, right? What are the beliefs that understanding this will enable me to go forward? And that's where things like, understanding and believing that value is more important than price is so important, because I think people hear this and then they don't believe it. And when they don't believe it, then it's impossible for you to authentically sell it, right? And so it's a
Right.
matter of
And
getting
that's why
that straight.
action with validation. Totally, Jeff. And action with validation is the reinforcement. Remember, sometimes, Jeff, have you ever heard of this? And you probably did with your kids and just kind of in life, right? Oh, that feels good. So if
Yeah.
people want that action of validation, they feel good, yet it's not good. It's not the right thing for them to do because the direction or the results aren't getting them what they want. And so,
Yeah.
Jeff, that's the additional step after belief. And so I like to use this formula as a way to say,
So
guys, I'm not sure why you continue to repeat the same behavior. It's because you're getting validated. So I need to go back to the validation. How do you get validated? Oh, when someone says
yeah.
thank you, someone buys from me. Okay,
Right.
but it's still the wrong customer. You still
Yeah.
are doing the same thing wrong.
Yeah. Well, it's actually, yeah, that's an interesting one too. Like if I get one sale, then I validated that my thing works. Whereas
Right.
that you might try another way where you would have gotten 10 sales, right? But we have to actually look at whether the validation is actual real validation. But let's go quickly through your different habits, because these are really good ones, right? So your
Yes,
habit
yes,
number
yes.
5, right, is
Okay.
assuming that our customer knows everything that we know, right? So talk a
Yes.
little bit about that.
So, guys, I have to say, your intent, your heart on your sleeve, you know everything about technology. I mean, you sit in these seminars, guys, and I see you ask all of these technology questions, right? And I'm thinking, oh boy, now you're to go tech vomit on your customer and assume that they understand, why they need to have this certain switch, why this server matters, why this backup needs to happen, why this and this. And they're like, we don't care. Just do the pen test.
Yeah.
That's all we need to know. We don't need to know why this is the red team, blue team, why purple team comes in, why the white hat hackers are like. You don't need to know that, guys. So this habit is an example, Jeff, of sometimes what happens is we go get all the information and really we're trying to translate it right into
Mm-hmm.
what our customers trying to understand. Yet that's the part that's the biggest disconnect, is saying, you know man, I really need to solve my problem, business owner, and I, MSP, MSSP, you need to solve my problem for me, but yet we don't know how to translate it, right? And so we assume that they know it. So you end up leaving money on the table. You end up saying, you know, you make the wrong sale,
Yeah.
right? Because that additionally
And
you
then
miss
so
on the
this
upsell because you're
idea,
so
this idea of
overwhelming.
so sorry, you're breaking up there, but the idea of like the wrong sale is such a crucial one too. Like one of our favorite examples is the guy who sells to dermatologists and then he gets a golf course. And so now he has to spend the next 3 months of his
Yeah,
time figuring out all of the systems that a golf course needs. And you think that, oh, it's just, email, but it's not. If you're really going to do uh,
no,
quality service and value, then you have to understand deeply everything that customer or that vertical needs. So and you have to do
right.
it in their language. I think thinking that the customer believes the same things that we do or understands technology, understands the connection between technology and business results, that's a habit. It's definitely worth breaking. I like the next one too. So my time is worth $13 to $20 an hour, and I do think that this is one where people get stuck a lot with not understanding that if you're doing work that you could give to somebody for $15 an hour or $20 an hour, you're really undervaluing yourself, right? Like there's so much else that you could be doing, and just doing it yourself and focusing on doing everything yourself in that slow growth is really going to hold you back.
Yeah. Yep. And guys, this was one of my most questioned slides in any of my presentations when I do this training stuff, because they all wanted to know, well, I could just get my wife to do it. And I'm like, again, you know, sometimes it's the wrong person on the wrong seat on the bus. It's not that
Yeah,
you mean to, it's just because you started off with, you know, leaving maybe a role in a company and said, hey, I'm going to go build my MSP. And then you get there and then you're still doing this idea that you still have to be the only one doing it. And then you
yeah,
wonder why, you know, it's a lifestyle business, and that's okay. Just call it what it is. You know, sometimes we just need to say, well, you know what, I'm going to stay here because I want a lifestyle business, and just own it. But if you're trying to
yeah.
scale and grow your
No, that's
business,
that's that's true. Sometimes it is just, but I even there, like sometimes when we talk about a lifestyle business, we don't realize that maybe the lifestyle isn't doing all of the work ourselves. Like there's
right,
that you can have a lifestyle that involves taking vacations and not having to do it all yourself. But
right,
that's crucial. And then so your next habit, so habit number 3, partner to partner versus services to customer. And this is what we were talking about with that trusted advisor
yes,
concept, is the more you get into understand their needs and you build that unassailable competitive advantage, the more you are partner to partner rather than delivering an infrastructure service to your customer, because they're just not interested. One of the things that we talk about a lot in our program is this idea of getting to that job to be done. Like rather than providing a service, understand fundamentally the job that you're doing and how you are transforming your customers, and that is crucial to them wanting to work with you. And I think that's fundamental to your habit 3 here. um
well, let me just add something
habit
to the slide. This habit right here, guys, this is where a lot of times it's training, right? There's a lot of training, there's a lot of skill development. You know, a lot of people say, well, I've sold clients because of referrals, so I don't do any sales marketing, I don't do any of that. And I'm like, that's a skill. That's a skill you've mastered. So when you look at this partner to partner, guys, versus, you know, services to customer, it's because you're telling that person, I'm a business owner and I understand
yeah,
what you need and I'm here to help you. And so, guys, there's a shift in the conversation when you're on the same side of the table, guys. Same side of the table is what's going to get you more deals than trying to tell them how superior you are or how much you know or how many switches and widgets you can tell them about, because that doesn't matter to them. It only matters
yeah.
to you.
Well, and that ties in nicely to the next habit, right? Outsmart versus outserve, which is just
Uh-huh.
this idea of I'm going to go in and show how smart I am versus just going in and providing the key service and the key results that my client needs, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And Jeff, here's something that's pretty profound. So in one of the rooms that I was in, I mean, every hand went up. They said, yeah, I started out because I wanted to help people. And I said, but you ended up just outsmarting everyone because you thought you needed to know it all. I said, you know
Yeah.
enough. You know enough to say, hey, the reason why you need this backup is because if you're in the middle of nowhere and your computer crashes, what's going to happen to your business? I said, don't you think
Yeah.
that's more compelling than saying, hey guys, you need to do a remote access backup because I'm the MSP and I know everything and I'm the one in charge and I'm going to take control of it. And they're like, whoa, this isn't about you, it's about me. So how did you get out of serving me as a relationship, a partnership, right? And so again, Jeff, this is something so common that I'm just trying to tell the world really is, guys, we need to stop outsmarting our customer and we need to start outserving them.
Yeah, I love that. I also think when you're outsmarting people, you're making them wrong the whole time. Like you're saying, "Oh, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong," and people don't like that, right? But when you're serving them, you're showing
Mhm.
them what the right is, and you don't have to show them how smart you are. You just show them how much they can gain, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so,
And Jeff, this is something that you guys do great in the program because we work with so many of your MSPs is that the second they forget that they have to answer every question, the second that they have to stop worrying about all of the widgets and the switches and how everything works together, and all they just do is start having a conversation, they really start shining as a
yes.
person trying to help someone. That's what's so
Well,
powerful
and
about
what we find
the
is
the
when people
groups of
start
people you work with.
getting into that, they're happier, they're more authentic, they enjoy it more. They don't feel like clients are going to the clients don't want to see me or that they're mad at me or that like there's just a much
Mhm.
more positive atmosphere and self evaluation when you're in that space. So the last one, the
Right.
last
And
one quickly,
guys, oh yes.
I just want to is Outsmart versus Outserve QBR on your own biz. What are you getting
Uh-huh.
at here? What's the habit?
So strategic guys, when you sit down with your clients, every quarter, I like to say when you do it in between the quarters, call it a strategic business review. But I want you guys to say, hey, you know what? If you have so many tickets, guys, there must be something we can do better. So if we are doing great, the value of us saving your time, making you more efficient and effective is equal to a certain amount of dollars, right? So remember, guys, when you're looking at your own business, remember you have to take an evaluation of yourself. And that deliverable, when you look at the ticket amount, maybe it's a repeat issue, maybe you need more training, more videos to that. Maybe you can't be everywhere, so you have, a support team under you. I like to look at where are your pain points, but more importantly, do it on yourself. And that's
Yeah,
more of an accountability, right? Like one of the things that, Jeff, you and Joe have been such great mentors and leaders to me is saying, Charlene, we just want to solve the problem, right? We want to solve the problem in between, right? That QBR, that SBR. We want to solve the problem for our MSPs. And I think, yes, that's exactly what we are. That's why our community of vendors together are solving these problems for MSPs. And so, guys, really the thought is do it on yourself because I'm sure you're going to find a better, faster, smarter way to do it. But sometimes
yeah,
we forget this step, right? Because we're just trying to respond. So when you do it on your own, you can actually go back to your client and say, hey, if I listen to your tickets and I'm saving you time and money, you know what? This is the value of having a solution provider like us. There's a lot of
yeah,
ways to then communicate how awesome you are to your
yeah.
customers if you're doing this on your own.
Yeah, no, I think that's really true, and I think that's part of the value of going back and doing the planning like we do 3 times a year and thinking these things through. Is it gives you that moment to go back and really think about your business from that strategic business review standpoint and where we are and what we're trying to achieve, and I think that's a really crucial part of building a scalable business. So I love that. I love the framework. I love the habits. I look forward to seeing how that develops over the year. Like you were talking about how you add and
Yes.
you change. And so
Yes.
I really think this is a great way for us to think about how to manage our businesses. So thanks for taking the time to chat with us, Charlene. And again, we'll put up the slide. We wanted to end with this idea of going from MSP to
Yes.
MSSP. So Carla's going to put that up.
Yes.
And while she does that, I'll have her share again the link to register for the training day. So register for the training day. It's on February 27th. Even if you can't be there, we will provide recordings afterwards. There's some reasons why we can't actually live stream it. So we will provide the recordings afterwards. But if you can be there in person, it's a great event, free lunch and drinks. And we actually have some really cool stuff planned with the MSPAA that we'll talk about next week that you will want to be a part of as well. So that's all coming up. And then Charlene, just why don't you take us out with information on that slide? I did want to have that slide up, Carlos. So a little information, on what you're doing here in that slide, and then we'll call it a day.
Well, we appreciate it again, guys. Thank you. And yes, we love the MSPA. As you guys know, the goal of us in building a community like we are is with people who actually, live and do what they say, and that they say the things that will help. And of course, the end result. And this is really what we're launching in 2025, guys. As you transition your MSP into an MSSP, the goal is to understand that cybersecurity is a function of helping you manage your client's environment. And again, Jeff, we've seen this time and time again over this last year that it is apparent that finally the rulings against, the different compliances of frameworks is more apparent now for business owners. They have to follow the rules. They have to follow the compliance. And so our goal this year is to really amplify this across the board, because we know that MSPs need to take hold of that MSSP responsibility and role that they'll do in helping their clients achieve their goals. And so we're so excited and thrilled. Yes, we'll be there. We love the MSPA. Of course, we're big fans all together. We work together, and we're all endorsed partners. So I can't wait to see you guys again. Sorry.
That's awesome. So again, thank you very much, Charlene. And we'll have lots of exciting conversations about cybersecurity and marketing, and have a drink with Charlene, and it's going to be great. So we will see you all, and connect with Charlene. We have that up here on the screen and on her LinkedIn. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live or watching the replay, and have an amazing rest of the week.
Thanks for joining us, and a special thanks to our subscribers. Consider becoming one right now and tap into our insights and instincts to help drive your business vision and success. Remember, you didn't start your business to feel frustration. You started it for freedom. We can help you discover the impact, freedom, and wealth you always imagined. Learn more at startgrowmanage.com/learn more.